Okay, I'm going to review this Knox. He's also known as the Raging Atheist. I'll link his channel down in the comments or description. This review. I kind of want to just get at the notion of antitheism. I like that. That's kind of like the overall topic here. I think the Raging Atheist, as well as others, identify as antitheist, which is to say that there's like a reason that people ought not be religious. More specifically, a sort of practical reason. Like we have a practical reason given our aims for how societies should be or how people behave, right? We have a reason to kind of oust religion or kind of be so there, hence antitheism. Whereas like if you simply just think that belief in God is irrational, like like this philosophically problematic, logically coherent, whatever, right? It doesn't match reality, as people like to say. Then you're not an anti-theist by that measure, right? It's like here, anti-theism is really getting at, look, religion is poison. It's bad for people. It's bad for societies. It's harmful. That kind of thing, right? And I just don't understand that position. I think that um, certain religious people, uh, contribute a lot to society, and certain religious people don't. So it's not like religion is going to be explanatory there. And I'll discuss it later. We'll kind of like review it later. That kind of argument that I have. But let's go ahead and listen to it.
Woke up this morning and a lot of people are talking about the Justin Downing situation, converting to Islam out of atheism. Everybody's talking about it. So now I'm going to really talk about it.
I'm not dead, fuckers. I am the Cum Lord.
Sorry for the vulgarity.
Sushi. Who the fuck is that?
What's up, you heathens and demons, you sinners and saints? Welcome back to the Raging Atheist. I'm your boy Nakasuchi. Today is a different kind of video. Today I'm going to be making a video about something that I don't really think my opinion is very important on, but people are talking about it, and something happened this morning that I really want to talk about. So yesterday in my stream, I talked a little bit about Justin Downing converting it to Islam and how it's not hypocritical that some atheists are going after him for it. Now, I haven't been one of those atheists. I haven't had really a bad thing to say about his conversion. I haven't witnessed it. I don't know the particulars of it. I just find it a bit silly. And I also find
So, I mean, I was right with him up until that point, right? That like, if I found out someone converted, I don't know the particulars. I don't know what explains it. I don't know, like, I don't, I'm not gonna think too much about it, right? Maybe if I had to talk to the person, if I really wanted to investigate why they believed, and then he said it's just silly. Well, maybe you might already have a conception of Islam or Christianity or whatever religion that already there's like some already kind of a logical issue. Maybe he's talking about that, and that's why it's silly to convert to such a view. One second, my Discord is going crazy. Let me mute it for a second. Okay. But yeah, let's hear him out.
it harmful to the actual cause that we as atheists are here espousing that we're fighting, which is normalizing atheism. I find it very harmful to that cause, but that's just my opinion, and my opinion in this situation, at least, I don't think really matters that much. But I see a lot of people calling out negative reactions from atheists towards this conversion. And I just have to tell you guys that I think that that's stupid. I think that we should have a negative reaction towards any conversion. And I've always had negative reactions towards conversions. Sassy Heathen back in the day, she.
So tell me why you would have a negative reaction towards a conversion in which helped that person individually. Say this person just didn't really care about politics, right? They don't have some kind of political agenda. That's to say, and they found meaning and purpose and their conversion. Like, are you telling me that you would have a problem with that? I don't know why you would.
Converted back into Christianity. She started with trying to convert into paganism. I thought that was stupid. She converted back into Christianity. I thought that was stupid. And I just didn't associate with her much after that. Not saying that she's a bad human being, but I'm trying to normalize atheism. I'm not trying to give theism some credibility. But
Normalize. Look, yeah, I don't. If society looks down on a particular view like atheism or even theism, right? Whatever view, right? Then yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't think people should treat others differently on the basis of those sorts of things. But to say that I'm not going to associate with this person anymore on the basis, or I'm less inclined to associate with them because they're a theist or they're a Christian or they're a Muslim. I think that seems kind of bigoted to me. And but let's see.
outside of yesterday, I haven't mentioned this or talked about this at all. I've been fairly disconnected from the online communities. This morning, I see a kid on my Facebook page. I think he's like 15, Elmo Aldo Jr. Thinks he's some kind of philosophical theist that likes to have philosophical conversations with atheists, talking about this and talking about how, Justin's this great dude, and I'm sure he is. I don't know the guy well. I don't have anything bad to say about him. But pretty much essentially how it's wrong for people to be calling him out. And I didn't even go on there, and I wasn't being mean. I just said, he had made some kind of comment about, this debates, and I simply said that this community is about normalizing atheism. It's not a debate, it's a fight. Well, Elmo took some issue with that and got butthurt and really sensitive. And he said, fight? Question mark. And if you think that way, you can just block me. For one, son, I'm not the sensitive one that's butthurt right here over a pure and simple statement about how normalizing atheism is a fight. And it is a fight. It's a political fight. So I'm not the one that needs to do the blocking here, Elmo. That would
See, look, like I said, there could be a political issue with respect to these views, but there doesn't have to be. I feel like the why you see, like, if you have two options, right? Let's say this is a political question for sake of argument, right? It might be, okay. Why would you seek to, I guess, ridicule theists, make them look stupid, make them feel ostracized, and to normalize, as you say, atheism? Why not just fight to show that these views, whether theism, Christianity, Islam, atheism, whatever, agnosticism, not play a role in politics, right? Like there are a lot of apolitical Christians, right? So if you're gonna have a problem with a Christian, I guess you would. I see that you shouldn't have a problem with Christianity simpliciter. You would just have a problem with the Christians that are the people that have particular political agendas. So, for instance, if let's say you're pro-choice, okay, and there are a lot of Christians that are not pro-life, right? And they're a good handful that there are, right? Instead of saying Christianity is dumb, irrational, and it leads to like societal issues, like they push legislation like pro-life agendas. I just don't see like why you couldn't just. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I don't see why you couldn't just attack people for their political positions, not for their religiosity. I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, and if it's the case that their religiosity motivates the political agendas that you're against, well, then talk about that sort of inference and just point out that, hey, look, it's not like Christianity therefore pro-choice, right? Because there are Christians that are pro-choice that are not, and so you see, it doesn't really have a lot to do with the politics of it, the political agenda.
Would be your sensitive little ass. And he did. After I pretty much told him that I get two shits about his opinion and that, you know, he could call me rage. It is perfectly acceptable for atheists not to accept some bullshit reasoning for a conversion into a religion that you were supposed to be fighting against, into a religion that is anti-progression, a religion that has so much baggage that comes along with it. Atheists can call you out for that. That's not being rude.
Yeah, but you see, you can just construe the religion not in terms of that, right? Look, there are Christians that are on the left that support your political agenda, and there are Christians on the right that don't support your political agenda. So why are you making Christianity about the left or right? I don't understand, right? Even if 90% of Christians were on the right, it wouldn't be explanatory as to why they're on the right, as long as they're Christians on the left, right? So your whole politics, right? Your whole politics can be compatible with your faith. I mean, I don't see why you're not leaving any room for that.
It's not. That's called being held to account. Especially as far as I understand, it was the Kalam cosmological argument that led this atheist into his conversion. I'm sorry, people can not like that. People cannot like that. I'm sorry. You know, you made that decision.
Okay, yeah, no one's disputing. Like, no one would dispute like that, right? Like, it's not like if you. I mean, the whole question whether the Kalam is a good reason to accept theism, or, I mean, like, then you just point out the issues, the logical issues with the Kalam. I mean, what's liking the argument or disliking the argument have to do with it? But I mean, unless you mean something like that, like there's like the argument is a bad the Kalam cosmological argument is a bad argument. But I don't anticipate that you're going to point out flaws in it right now. It seems like, you know, I would be surprised if you could point out flaws. I would like to see that.
That's gonna happen. So needless to say, I was blocked just because I simply said, hey, this is a fight. This isn't a debate. And when you look at it as a debate, like this is some debatable position, the existence of a God that you cannot prove, that you have really no fucking reason to believe in, you lost. You've granted.
Well, he's citing the Kalam, so it seems like if you care about the issue, you would be attacking the Kalam, right? I mean, maybe you're not here to do that. Maybe the beginning of the video you said, you know, I'm giving my opinion, I'm emoting. But seems like this is like the worst way to like if you wanted him to leave Islam, why not just be critical of the Kalam?
Too much ground already. You know, I am an agnostic atheist, and I think that there's some confusion there. So let me point it out to you. I do not think a single God exists. I'm just reasoned and honest enough to tell you that I can't prove that. And I don't have to prove that. Because in order for me to believe in something's existence, I need evidence for that. And if you can't supply me with that evidence, then I have no reason to believe that or even take your argumentation seriously.
Yeah. Have you ever talked to a decent Christian apologist? I mean, it just seems kind of nutty that you would say that, because if that's what you think justifies your beliefs of atheism or agnostic atheism, as you're saying, then you're definitely not justified. You don't know anything, right? I mean, like, I mean, if I were a Christian apologist, I would just say, you know, it's just not an evidentiary claim. It's a philosophical claim, right? That's to say that, I mean, I've talked about this in my other videos, that God is consistent with all sorts of observations, if not all observations. And so to prove God or to have a reason for believing in God, you're going to have to give an a priori argument. Okay. So it's not a matter of evidence. It's like, what do you think this is, science? I mean, surely there are Christians out there that think it's a scientific question. as to whether God exists, but it's not an evidentiary claim. I mean, like, I think there are all sorts of things that you believe that are not based on evidence, right? Logical entailments are not based on evidence. The way you come to know your own beliefs, that's not a matter of evidence, right? The way you come to other people's beliefs, or, that's not really a matter of evidence. And that one's a little bit tricky, but the idea is that, like, all sorts of things are consistent with people's intentions. But anyways, let's continue.
All right, so I have it pulled up, and this is the best one that I could find on here, where it just have the premises just laid out plainly. Premise 1 of Gazelli's reasoning involves whatever begins to exist has a cause of its beginning. Premise 2, the universe began to exist. Premise 3, therefore, a universe had a cause for its beginning.
Now, I didn't watch this whole stream. Maybe Justin would go on to tell you why this is such a dumb argument. But from what I've seen, as he laid out these arguments, there was nothing there that would suggest that these arguments are stupid, that these arguments are very, very dumb. Nothing there. And as an atheist, if you're normalizing atheism and you're going to be bringing out this argument, in my opinion, you should go at it against it. But Justin now is not an atheist. He's a Muslim. And there was no combating of this premises. And let's start with that first premise, because it's completely fucked. Whatever begins to exist has a cause of its beginning. That premise I do not accept. Give me evidence of that, because we live on a...
Okay, he doesn't accept the premise. Looks like he's about to defend the premise. So let's hear defend why he shouldn't accept that premise. So let's hear it.
World where there's some things we have no evidence for a cause for its beginning, including that world that we live on. We have no reason to believe anything created that world, or that there was a cause behind that outside of gravity bringing dust particles together, and that's just what the universe does. And then you get to your third premise, therefore
Yeah, that wasn't a very cogent response to the first premise. Like, I would probably have to rewatch it, but he clearly doesn't really dabble in this argument very often. I mean, like, what could he have been saying? I mean, he might have been saying something like, we don't see things. Like, I don't even know. I would have to re-listen to it. Maybe I should do that. I'm going to re-listen to it. Let me go back 30 seconds.
Give me evidence of that, because we live on a world where there's some things we have no evidence for a cause for its beginning, including that world that we live on.
We live in a world, and I can't even repeat what he's saying. I need it, like, written down. I don't get it. I don't get the response. I'm gonna have to... I would have to listen to it a few times, or you just talk to the guy, but I'm not going to be so quick to say it's a dumb response, because I'm not understanding him.
We have no reason to believe anything created that world, or that there was a cause behind that outside of gravity bringing dust particles together, and that's just what the universe does. And then you get to your third premise, therefore the universe has a cause of its beginning. The universe exists, therefore it has a cause of its beginning. We know that the universe exists. We do not know that it has a cause of its beginning. You assume that, you speculate that, but you have absolutely no fucking evidence of that. As an atheist, I would combat that immediately. I would put that out, and I would tell you straight up, this is a stupid fucking argument.
Well, to be fair, like, they use arguments to defend the premises. I mean, I don't really particularly think they work. I mean, but it's are you aware of how they defend the premises? I mean, it's true, like, just giving the premises is not an argument in itself. It's that the conclusion follows from the premises. That's the argument. Then you have arguments for the premises. So there's, like, the argument, and then there's the argument for the premises, what supports the premises, right? So you have to, what exactly are you calling dumb here?
We live in a world where there's plenty of things that men have not caused to exist. Almost every animal on this world, men had nothing to do with their existence. We didn't create that. We didn't see its creation. We have a better understanding of evolution. We have a better understanding of how these things got here. But a cause of its existence? No, we have observable evidence that plenty of things on this world alone doesn't have a cause for its existence. Hell, what cause for our existence as humanity is there?
Okay, I think this guy has no idea what he's talking about. He has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. I mean, that I thought I was giving him the benefit of the doubt, and then that what he's just saying there just doesn't make any sense. I mean, first of all, it's not existence that demands a cause; that it's a beginning that demands the cause. Okay, I just yeah, thank you, Tyler. Yeah, that took a sharp turn. We have no clue what you're saying, Knock. Okay. It's just, what does evolution have to do with it? Yeah, you're completely out of your depth. Completely out of your depth. If anything, what's really ironic is that, like if an apologist talked to you and gave you all the arguments, you probably would be committed to the conclusion because you don't know how to respond to them. So you would be justified in antheism, not atheism at best. Which is so funny for how much you hate theism.
Outside of fucking this world up. So when you have somebody that position themselves as a warrior in this battle, somebody that's going to represent atheism, somebody that's going to represent normalizing atheism, which is a fight, and then that person converts, well, atheists should take issue with that. Atheists
If you had spoken up in that room, you would have looked like an idiot. Okay, I mean, like that. That would have been entertaining. I would have been reviewing that instead.
should try to understand that. Atheists don't have to be nice about that. Being a humanist isn't about being nice. It's about seeing humans for what they really are.
What is he saying right now? What did he say? Human beings are not about being nice. They're about seeing humans as they are. What am I listening to, guys? This is embarrassing.
So this whole notion that you somehow have to be respectful of this bullshit, I mean, you can just go fuck yourself with that. But now I want to focus on the name change, right? Like, because that's funny. That's funny. And I'm sorry, I'm going to talk shit about that. And it might be hard to see. I'm going to try to zoom in on it for you guys. But Justin changed his name to Khalil Allah and has Justin in parentheses now. I'm sorry, dude, but you're Justin.
Well, that's funny. And presumably, you call people by what they want to be called. I mean, you do that for transgender people. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, okay. If you want to be called Khalil Allah, I mean, I'll do that. If I'm not gonna insult you or create tensions by calling you what you don't want to be called. I mean, come on, Rage. What is wrong with you? Okay. By the way, I didn't know who this guy was until just now. This guy's actually pretty nice. I think he's interviewed a lot of theists. I don't know him that well, but I think, I hope that he's fine. He ends up finding what he's looking for. But anyways,
I accepted a name change ceremony back when I was an actual Native American spiritualist, and I took on my Native American name, Nakasuchi, and I still use it as a nickname. But I always had my real name. I never lost my identity.
my real name, guys. There's no such thing as your real name. There's just the name that you want to be called by, what you identify as, right? Your legal name might be your real name in the sense that the state looks at you that way, or maybe in the sense that you at one time identified with that name. But if you want to change your pronouns, if you want to change your name, and you ask other people to I feel like I'm lecturing. I'm becoming more apolitical as the day goes by. But I'm kind of bewildered that I'm lecturing someone like Knock, who's staunch leftist, on pronouns and how we should interact with people that want to be called by a certain name.
I never had to be something else. And changing your name to Khalil Allah when you were the empathetic atheist and you still call your show the empathetic atheist show. I'm sorry, but atheists have every right to take issue with that. Every right to take issue with that, especially if you're serious about the cause of normalizing atheism.
So does that mean, Rage, that theists shouldn't take a issue with this? Is this just like an atheist problem? Why the heck is this an atheist problem? I don't get it. You know, a lot of theists probably have a problem with his conversion. You know, a lot of Christians might even have problems with the Kalam. I think Ken Ham and his crew are somewhat resistant to those sorts of arguments. Like, when the heck is this an atheist problem? Like, I don't even understand what that means. I can understand it as far as the philosophy goes. Like, it may not be rational. Okay, but why would that be a problem for me? I mean, it seems like, I don't know. Like, if someone's irrational, but they're happier for it, or if their irrationality is interesting in the sense that I can engage them in a philosophical discussion and stuff like that, I think that's all good, right? But it's not a problem for me. It's not a problem for me. Why would it be a problem for all atheists?
But, you know, I don't know Justin that well. I was on his show one time. He seems like a really nice dude, you know, really smart when it comes to the philosophy. But that's his issue. That's his problem, in my opinion.
Oh, dear. Okay. What did he just say? He said that he's too good at philosophy and that's his problem. I don't know. Okay. When people say something like this, what they mean by philosophy is like something completely different, right? I think you can just kind of reduce philosophy to like conceptual engineering or conceptual analysis, right? Asking big questions, something like that, okay? Kind of like, so if someone's good at that, why would that be a problem in terms of like understanding what logically follows, what's illogical, what's rational, what's irrational, that sorts of thing. Like, so he might be using philosophy in a different way here. I have no idea how he's using it.
Because he opened himself up to these bullshit arguments that have no basis in reality. There's nothing in that Kalam cosmological argument that would change me and what I see with my eyes.
Yeah, so you think, I mean, let's be charitable. He literally just said that I'm only going to believe things that I see with my eyes. Well, there are a lot of things that you believe in that you've never seen before. You believe in your brain, right? You believe that existed. You've never seen it. I mean, come on. And then, but I think what you meant is something that you could in principle sense with your perception, whether that be, you know, eyesight, touch, smell, you know, the five senses sort of stuff. Yeah, but there are a lot of things that you believe that, or that you infer not based on that. Think of like mathematics and logic, you know, so are you just going to discard those sorts of things? But like this guy's unhinged, right? I mean, he's just absolutely unhinged.
But I have nothing bad to say about the guy. But I will defend the atheists. I will defend this movement. I will talk about how goddamn important this movement is, and it's too important for you to play around with it, Khalil Allah.
Ironically, what is he? He sounds a little bit religious here, doesn't he? You know, like I'm just like really okay. Someone converted or whatever, you know, like okay, do they want to talk about it? They do. Okay, let's have a philosophical conversation about it. But if they don't, then just let them be, you know. And if they're bothering someone else, maybe I'll say something, right? If they were bullying some person because of, and they're citing their religiosity, then yeah, I'm going to say something about it. But if they're leaving everyone else alone, I don't get it.
Because I give two shits about your reasoning. I only care about the religion you now claim as your own. A religion that I proudly fight against. This is a fight. This is a fight that I'm not going to win in my lifetime. This is a fight that might not be won in the next lifetime or the next after that. This is a fight that has to continue, and we have to be vigilant. And that means we don't have to accept your bullshit reasoning for joining a bullshit religion that we.
For my new viewers, or if you haven't just listened to the beginning of the video, if you want a good laugh, listen to his response to the Kalam cosmological argument. I mean, it was, oh my gosh, an absolute insanity, right? Like, this guy is irrational, actually. Look, it's embarrassing to say, well, not really, but the fact that he and I agree on certain conclusions, sure, but I'm justified. This guy is not justified. He doesn't know God doesn't exist. He just believes it. If anything, he's irrational. I mean, it's just absolutely insane what he's saying.
We don't not only believe in, but fundamentally disagree with the politics of.
I went over this, right? Look, if you participate in a religion that does not dictate your politics, okay? I don't get it, right? Okay? Even if it's like Christianity might lean right, sure. But there are left-leaning Christians, which means that we don't define Christianity in terms of a political agenda. Okay? Okay, well, there are people out there that cite their religion to explain their religiosity. Maybe you could talk to those people, but it doesn't mean, therefore, Christianity or religiosity is defined in terms of a political agenda, you know?
With the influence they have, the theocracies they've borne, the human rights violations.
Okay, this is what his claim is, right? That what explains certain ills of society, let's say oppressive theocracies or human rights violations, he wants to point to religion. But there's actually something I think called, for quick philosophy lesson, there's something called Mill's method. I think there's a whole list of, I think there's like several numbers of Mill's method. I think it's number 5. Someone can correct me, it's either 5 or 10. Okay. But it's the idea that, like, if you're trying to explain a difference in between two outcomes, you cannot appeal to the common factor of both outcomes. So I'm just going to give it a very simple example. Let's say you and I, we hold hands and we jump off a cliff. This one cliff, we have a parachute. Okay. Now, the outcome is that I die and you live. Okay. And if someone were to ask you what happened, why did Danny die, right? And if you were to say because he jumped off a cliff, why wouldn't that be the right answer? Because you jumped off the same cliff, but you lived. You have to look for something that's different between the two. And in this case, we can just say my parachute malfunctioned. So let's say the switch didn't go. My switch was malfunctional. Yours was not. So that's what explains the difference. So let's apply it to this kind of like situation here. Okay. You take a society, or let's start with an individual level. You take a Christian who says something really mean to someone, and another Christian that says to the same person really nice things. Does their Christianity explain why one's mean and the other one's nice? No. Something else must explain it. It's the same. It's just analogous to the cliff example, right? You're going to have to. So if there's societies that are very Christian and which bring about ills of society, and there's another society that's very well, lots of a great Christian presence, but there are not that many ills of society. It's a good society. Christianity can't explain the difference between those two societies, right? This is why I think you shouldn't be an anti-theist. No one should be an anti-theist because they're going to be, because of this Mill's method, right? That, look, you're going to have society, you're going to have people that are religious to do horrible things, and you have people that are religious to do great things. Something else explains their behavior. It's not their religiosity that explains it.
The other that comes along with it. We can have an issue with that. Especially when you took so much time pretending to be one of us. So there, I went and I talked some shit. Now you guys have a reason to be all pissy with me about it. But I'll always defend atheism. I'll defend the lack of belief. I'll defend the movement we're fighting for here. And give 2 fucks about what you think about it. Want to thank my patrons. You guys are.
Yeah, this is just extremely toxic to me. there's a mixture of toxicity and irrationality in this video. I hope Rage becomes a better atheist, right? Like, I know a lot of atheists that don't think this way. There are a lot of atheists that I love Christians. I think Christianity has benefited me to a great extent, right? And yeah, there probably been Christians that have done really crappy things. Okay, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna judge people based on their actions, right? Based on how they benefit others and themselves, and I'm not going to judge them based on whether they're a Christian or not, right? Because all sorts of actions and behaviors are consistent with being a Christian or not being a Christian. So, yeah, I'm gonna look at the chat. Yeah, am I gonna watch Pogan stream? No, I'm just really dumb when it comes to politics. It's too much. Yeah, I'm not really good at politics. I have my intuitions about how I think the world should be, but I don't know it. But anyways, and I'm sorry, Name, I didn't initially respond to you. I can only focus on one thing at a time. But I'm gonna end the stream for now. I kind of like these videos somewhat short, but yeah, I think if anything, Knox should be deplatformed or at least called out. You see, here I am. I just want to say, my Christian friends out there, I'm a non-Christian. I identify as an atheist, right? I'm calling out other atheists, okay, for their toxicity, for their irrationality, and their mistreatment of religious people, okay? And I consider that to be an example of this. Now, I hope that for the toxic Christians out there, that you would call those people out. Toxic Muslims, toxic religious people. Toxic people need to be called out. Knock is toxic, in this case at least. Maybe in other cases he's a great guy. I don't really interact with the guy very much, but this is what's wrong with one of the reasons that, the symptoms of the animosity on in YouTube, right? And anyways, is my girlfriend an atheist agnostic? She would be an agnostic, but now now she's my wife. I married her Friday. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? I'm married. Oh man. Okay, I'll see y'all later, guys.